Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Tired as a Mother, a podcast for busy moms. And I know Chelsea Hamilton, our guest today, knows exactly what Tired as a Mother means. She is a professional in EKU cheerleading. She is the head coach of the all-girls team. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've been super successful the past few years. Tell us a little bit about your success.
So I got the job 4 years ago. This was season 4 for me. When we came in, it was a smaller program, about 20 girls, and the co-ed side had about 16. I knew from cheering in college myself that you need a lot more to run a successful program. So we recruited and got those kids in there, and now we run at about 36 to 44 just for all girl. And then co-ed has about 28 for themselves. So yeah, we got 8th the first year, and then 3rd, which was a big milestone for all girl. Then we won, and then we got 2nd this year.
That's great. So very busy.
Yeah.
And you also have 3 kids. Tell us a little bit about your kids. They're very young, so.
I do. We have an 8-year-old. Her name's Charlie, 2nd grade. Kindergartner Andy, she's 6, and then a little boy Archie. He is 2 and stays at home with me during the day.
And then your husband coaches the basketball team. And so that, I can only imagine with travel and everything. How do you balance all of that?
We're still working on it, but we've been doing the basketball life since I've met him, so that was nice that it was prior to. It's not like a new job for us. I knew what I was getting myself into. Years ago, it was very hard. I thought I was always by myself, but now when he does go on the road, it is nice. You know, I get my time to myself a little bit while he gets his time on the road with his team. We've gotten better at it. I still got a lot of, things to work on to make me it more comfortable, but the girls get it. Archie's starting to kind of be a little confused why he's gone.
I see.
The girls get it, so we got past that, but the little boy, he does struggle with daddy at work, so.
Yeah, so what are some tools that you've used to make that transition into such a busy life easier? I won't say easy because my life is definitely not
For
easy.
sure. Yeah. I have a lot of really good girlfriends. I'm sure a lot of people say that. We live in an amazing neighborhood that has events for the kids. We just moved there last year. That's really helped me. It makes me not feel like everything I go to, I'm alone, So having them, have an Easter egg hunt last Sunday. AW was recruiting, so it was nice. I just went up there. I didn't feel like I was by myself because I knew people, My sister-in-law, her husband is his assistant. So we live the same lifestyle. So when they go on the road, we do try to get our kids together or watch the games together or plan dinners during that so we don't feel like, we're by ourselves. I have a lot of coaching wives that are around the country, so just to have them be able to reach out to them or follow them on their little, journeys their little tips is nice to see too.
It sounds like it's really important to connect to moms that are in the same walk of life.
Yes.
I know I've experienced that with myself. I'm 28 in college, and there's not many of us out there, but even following people on social and finding those connections, a way to reach out and encourage one another.
It just feels good when somebody knows what you're talking about. I have really good girlfriends that help me but don't know what it's like for their husband to be gone all the time, or I have girlfriends that work all the time and I don't. So, but to find somebody that really knows what you're doing is nice. You don't feel like you're really that crazy.
I feel you right there. What would you tell moms that might be hesitant to kind of put themselves out there and meet other moms? Where can they go to find these people?
Yeah, I remember when the first job we were at, I was by myself a lot the first year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've always had a good group of friends and I'm very social and I like to get out there. And then I just went from just being a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, ooh, I didn't think this was how my life was going to go, But I started talking to people at games. That was my only outlet there because I didn't know anybody. I wasn't working. But here in Richmond, I'm on the Richmond Moms page. Anytime that there's an Easter egg hunt or there's a bounce house here or EKU does things for kids all the time, I'll go by myself. I mean, granted, I do know a lot of people at EKU now that I've worked here, but I didn't at first. So I think if you just go, your kids enjoy it, And if let them run.
Get the energy out. Give yourself some sleep.
The parks, too. I'm not one. Honestly, I don't like to just sit there and push a kid on a swing. It's not really my jam. But I do like to, socialize with the moms and watch my kids run around and enjoy themselves. So there's so many parks in Richmond. And when you get there, you realize that people are just like you and are by themselves. And they're like, oh, hey. And then you just kind of start talking.
Yeah.
So I've met a lot of moms through that and social media accounts, too.
I realized being a mom, my oldest is 4, so I'm still kind of early in this, but I've found that moms automatically can connect because you automatically you can spot the moms out in the store. You can see the mom struggle and be like, girl, you got this. I feel you.
And before you have children, I think you have all these goals and ambitions and things that you you eat organic or do this or and then once you get there and everybody does their own parenting differently, it is nice though. It sounds mean, but when I see a kid have a tantrum in a store, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not the only one.
Yes.
And I'm like, you got it, girl. Your kid's not the only one that's going to lose its mind, or your kid's not the only one that eats stuff off the ground or doesn't have shoes on, or, so I've been very less judgy from 8 years ago than I am now. I am almost do you want me to help you? Because it's hard. It's hard.
I can totally relate to that. I mean, I had this mindset of okay, so I'm not going to do this. Why is your kid acting like that? And then you become a mom, you're like, oh, they all like that.
Oh,
they're all
crazy.
Yeah, you just pivot. And one thing you mentioned, you were you didn't expect to be the stay-at-home mom type. Mm-mm. And so I think that explains motherhood really well, is because we have this expectation of motherhood, and then when we step into it, we have all these different opinions coming at us from social media, from family, from friends, from just the public. And then
for sure,
it is what it is.
It is.
And you just have to shift. So tell us a little bit how you kind of stepped into that role, even when it looked differently than you thought.
Yeah, I even parent, just saying the shift, I parent my 8-year-old differently than I did. I feel like I'm such a better mom now. And when I look back, I'm like, oh, Charlie acts that way because I was so nervous about everything because she was my first, and that's a natural thing. And now Archie, I'm like, let's go. He just goes with the flow, but he's so much more calm than she is, which is crazy. But I parent him different. I'm older. I think I know a lot more about being a mom than I did 8 years ago. But yeah, when I met AW, we were living apart. So we had to make the choice of who was going to move, to start our life together. So I moved with him, and I was like, oh, this is great. We're going to have a baby. Everything's great. And then it happens, and you're like, so I just sit here all day? That's what I do? I'm just going to, hang out and do the dishes? It looks cool from the outside, and you see, the Real Housewives, and everything's so glamorous. It's really not. There's a lot of time spent by yourself. And I remember thinking, oh, my God, I would rather work at McDonald's. I love Charlie, and I'm so blessed to be able to stay at home. But until I really got my groove, I'm like, I would be the happiest drive-through person. Hey, because you don't get to talk to adults a lot.
There's a lot of isolation involved. I realized that during the pandemic. I've always been a busybody. I'm a college student full-time. I have 2 small kids. I've just always been on the go. But until you really step into that role, you don't realize that it's just as stressful in the home as it is outside the home, right. If not more, because you have these tiny humans relying on you. And
talking to somebody that doesn't talk
the
whole day.
Yep.
So I fully enjoy phone calls too, and I will talk your head off on a phone call if anybody ever wants to call me. That was kind of my outlet back then because I lived so far from my family and friends that I started to be a phone person. And a lot of people aren't anymore. They want to text. I'm like, call me. Let's talk.
Too, today's technology, especially through the pandemic, there's good things that come out of it. We can connect with people on Zoom. And one thing that I've really initiated into my life is that almost every Thursday night, I do a FaceTime call with my best friend because we're just both so busy.
That's so fun.
It's so fun. So I really encourage people to just connect because
yes.
I don't know.
If you have a plan too, like you say every Thursday,
yeah,
I think that's good. We try to do like once a month or something with my girlfriends. And if it skips, it skips,
Yeah.
But you always kind of have something to look forward to.
Yeah, write it down in the calendar. Do you have anything that keeps your life organized with a busy schedule? Because I can only imagine, like, your husband has all these games away here, practices. You have your own events to attend and your practices. How do you keep it all together?
Okay, so I am not a schedule person. It's so bad, and my whole team would love to hear me say this because I don't ever admit it, but I'm very fly by the seat of my pants at all times. I have a good memory. I used to. Now I feel like it's getting worse, and I'm like, I should probably get a calendar because I usually can just keep it all in my head. But, both my girls cheer on separate teams. I have my own team of 44 girls. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
AW has a schedule. I have my social life, my family life. Both of our families don't live in Richmond. So I'm not very good at it. So that I would admit it, and I'm going to work on it. And I do have like a little calendar that sits out that I write it down. But I should work on that.
But some people can take it and like own it though. Me, if I took that on, it would be a nightmare. So I applaud you for that.
I feel it gives me more anxiety when I see it.
Yeah.
Than just like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I have to do the podcast today. My kids get off the bus. We have practice. Then looking down and it's like all highlighted in different colors and there's words everywhere. I would throw up, I think. I was too scared to see how much really I have to do. And I just go by day. And
I think it's a good reflection to say that what works for one mom doesn't work for all.
Correct.
And I think until you become a mom, it's something you don't step into.
Yes. Mm-hmm. No.
What about any type of, do you read books? Is there any advice that you've gotten throughout your journey that you just really took hold on to and made a difference in your life?
I was one of the first of my little friend group to have babies. So I feel I took that on. We were kind of just going into it blind,
I feel you.
I was like, oh, why am I first? I do have one that she had a little boy before us, but we were very close in time and we didn't live near each other, so it really wasn't like that. But there's a lot of podcasts that I listen to while I travel. I try to make as many of AW's games as I can. So I'm not a huge flying person, so we drive everywhere. But there's so many on there. Like when we ended up losing the tournament and we had to drive back from Georgia, I had all 3 kids by myself. You're sad the season's over. I get in the car, but when I walked outside, it was like 70 degrees and beautiful. And I'm like, oh my God, we're so blessed. I know I'm sad, and I just like turned on a podcast, and it's so weird because I'm not the huge clean freak either. And I'm like, how to clean my house better. And like listen to like these little things that would just little 5-minute things that you can do daily just to make it look tidy. And I've like enjoyed it. Now, do I do it every day? No, but I do remember it every day.
Yes.
So yeah, the podcasts are great, I think. And your friends, if people have kids, to reach out to them. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you should breastfeed for the rest of your life. I just, do whatever makes you happy and works for you. All 3 of my kids were different, and they're all just kids, and they're all kind of the same, So I would love if anybody ever needed anything to reach out. And I do have a lot of my girlfriends that reach out to me, and I reach out to them for advice about, if they're sick or what school should they go to, or, if your kid's falling behind in school too. You're not the only one, and you might feel like it, but if you just ask one of your friends, you're probably not the first person that's had to go through that.
And one thing is embracing it. This acceptance was a big thing for me. It's like, okay, I'm 28. Most of my friends don't have kids. I'm a college student and a mom. Okay, I'm here. Let's just roll with it. Let's just embrace it.
It's so awesome for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Very cool. I can't imagine going to school while I was having children.
The struggle is real, but we're making it happen.
That's really
and
cool.
I did. I had to embrace it. And I'm sure it's the same for you. You just had to embrace the crazy lifestyle that you guys are living. And you obviously enjoy cheer. You did it in college. Where did you do it at?
I cheered at Moorhead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good Kentucky girl, right?
Yep, I am. I'm from Northern Kentucky, and then cheered there. And then somehow we ended up back at EKU.
So,
which is super cool.
Yeah, explain a little bit about following your passion even as a mom, because it's so easy as a mom to be like, well, I should just stay home with my kids. I should put my dreams on hold because, I mean, it's a full-time job in itself to be a mom. So how do you follow your passions?
So cheered everywhere, all the all-star gyms and, everything, high school, college, and then I worked. That's what I did. I coached cheerleading, worked in the gym full-time. I thought that's what I was going to do forever. And then when I met AW, that, changed. So when I moved to Virginia, I didn't coach anymore. And the first year I was like kind of sad about it, but then after time passed, I'm like, this is my calling. I'm supposed to be a basketball wife and I'm supposed to raise these kids. And, it's still kind of the same because he had his team. So I really threw my life into those boys there. So then when he got the EKU job, we were trying to have another baby and the cheer job opened and I'm like, I don't know. I've been out of it so long. Like, I love it. But like I have these kids, I have so much going on and want to get pregnant. And AW was like, just do it, just do it. I'm like, really? Like, this means I'm coming out of the house, and you're not going to just have me for everything. So I remember I went to the first practice and I was like, I'm just going to help until they find a new coach. And then I was like, actually, I want the job. So they're like, well, it's too late. Now you have to apply. I'm like,
oh no.
So I applied, got the job. It's been great. It's definitely my outlet. I love the girls. I see myself so much in them and want them to just be better than what I was, as a person too, and just come out of here and be like, really think I can call Chelsea whenever I need her. Like she's got my back regardless. And so there's a lot of special girls in that program and it means a lot to me.
I think it's great that you stepped into that calling, even though you had your busy life, and it's a teamwork. Like your husband, like it was awesome that he was just like, yeah, go for it.
It was very nice.
And like, I'm sure he knew, okay, she's going to be doing this. I'm going to have to step up a little bit.
I don't think he really knew what college cheerleading was until I did it. And he's like, whoa. But like right now, I'm like, you either got to get a babysitter or I'm like, can I drop him off at the gym for however long we're going to be sitting here? So he's with him right now, which is nice. I don't want to just get a babysitter every single time I have to go to the store or, run an errand or anything. So
definitely like a teamwork thing
for sure
with your partner, husband out there. But yeah, well, I appreciate you coming and talking to us today, telling us about your journey, cheerleading here at EKU, and a little bit into your life. Tell us, I know you mentioned that cheerleading squad is growing. And you're looking to grow even more. Can you give some people information if they want to contact you and be involved?
Yeah, all of our social media sites are EKU Cheerleading for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you would like to email me, it is chelsea.hamilton@eku.edu. Our tryouts for all-girl and co-ed will be May 18th through the 20th. You can find that all on social media. And we'd love for everybody to come out and try out and see what this year holds for that team.
Yeah, of course. Well, I wish you all a great season. And thank you again for being on this show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. And thank you for joining us for Tired as a Mother, a podcast for busy moms. Make sure you check us out at easternprogress.com. Thank you.